It's time for Inside the Patch with your Las Vegas Raiders. Here's Gnarley Charley.
It's Inside the Patch right here at ESPN 1430, your Valley local sports leader. I'm Gnarley Charley along with Mitch Adams, the professor of the perfect rotation basketball training device. There it is right there, which makes a great stocking stuffer.
Yes.
I think it does. I think that's perfect. If you want to get your kids to be the next Seth Curry, it's that easy. Maybe the next Aiden O'Connell. If you get some more rotation, that would be good too. So what happened last week? We played the Miami Dolphins. We were a 14-point underdog, meaning there was no chance for us to win. And there are no moral victories, but we were in it. We ran out of time. You know, we were in that game till the end.
We did run out of time. And, you know, we went up against the number one offense in the NFL. And held up to 6 points in the second half, 20 total. Yep. And so the defense is playing. Yeah. There were a couple miscues, but you know, only 5 penalties in the game. And so the Raiders are playing some clean football and inspired football. And we didn't see that early in the season. So there are no moral victories, as you said, but can you use what you did in this game against the number one defense to get you ready for Kansas City coming up this week? Absolutely. Yeah. And there were a lot of positives in the game. However, there were a few negatives, and we certainly need to touch upon those and build upon those because we're this close from being a pretty good football team. Right.
I mean, I think if we had no offense to Aiden O'Connell, he's a rookie. He's playing like a rookie, but he has his moments, man. And
he does.
He missed a couple passes that would have been, you know, Devontae was open, and
a couple times.
But you know what though, we knew this was happening. We knew we were here, and I feel much better about having the Chiefs come to Vegas now than I did 3 weeks ago.
Absolutely. We had no snowball chance in hell to do anything against anyone because the team, I don't want to say they quit, but they weren't playing inspired football. They were just going through the motions.
They did quit. They were quitting on the Josh McDaniel debauchery. And I have since then, because I'm trying to get, like, you know what they say, wash that right out of your hair? I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to not talk about it.
I don't
you know,
about me.
I guess that doesn't really work for you. But I'm just saying, I like the fact that I feel like we're going forward. We're not hanging around thinking about him. And but the more stuff that comes out, it's like the National Enquirer. I want to pick it up and read it. I want to hear what this jerk was doing, but it doesn't help. It doesn't help anything. It doesn't fix anything. We just need to go forward. But, you know.
That's all we can do is go forward and hope that next year, well, maybe this year, in case maybe somebody gets let go and, you know, solidify that offensive line and that defensive line. And I think if you can take care of those two areas, then the linebackers in the secondary will play that much more better. And running backs and receivers will be that much more productive on the offensive side when holes are opened and when the quarterback has time to throw. And it all starts up front, whether it's offense or defense, that really gets that side of the ball going. And that's what we need because as great as Max is, we need somebody on the opposite side doing the same thing. And Kuntz actually played pretty good, got a lot of pressure up front, but we also need Tyrese Wilson to do the same thing.
Well, as hard as it is to blame Aiden O'Connell and Josh Jacobs, they don't have a shot until those holes are open, until the line, we're missing Colton Miller really bad. I'm feeling it. And as you know, the NFL is a tough place, and the linemen have to work together because every play is changing. The coverage, everything, who's coming in, and it's tough. It's not easy. It's not easy to win in this league. But I feel like we're close. I think we're close.
We are close. We're very close. However, 36 yards against any team, rushing is not going to get it.
Right.
That doesn't keep the defense honest. when they know they can shut the run down, then their ears are bent back and they're coming after the quarterback. So had we rushed for 136 yards, I'm sure it would have been a different outcome. But we'll get there. I really think we'll get there. And Aiden, baptism by fire. He's out there. He's learning. And he threw 3 interceptions. Not good at any level, but sometimes you have to make mistakes to learn from them.
Right. Well, and I feel like, every week he's done one where a veteran corner ropes him in. They click their play back, and then they just know that he's going to throw that quick little hook.
Yeah.
They set him up for it. They just set him up for it.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
And then the last interception, Jalen gets to the end zone toward the very end of the game, which we had an opportunity to tie that game up. And so we can say all we want about what could have happened, but we were in that game. And I walked away from that game, and it didn't feel as bad as the loss in Detroit or the loss in Chicago.
Right. No, the Chicago one was probably the lowest we felt.
Oh, my God.
That was after the team meeting, and it was like, this is hopeless. This is not going to work.
Yeah, that was tough.
And so I feel better than that.
Yeah, I you know what? And it was a morning game here on the West Coast, and I still had a whole day in front of me, and it was okay. I was like, you know what? I wanted them to win, but I didn't feel that bad. I felt encouraged that we may be turning that corner that we need to turn to become that football team that we all think we can be.
Well, my hope is that we play the Chiefs as hard as we can. I hope we win the game. We've got the home field advantage.
Man.
I hope that they they think they're okay. But coming off a loss, though, they had a tough match, but you could see some of the, kinks in their armor too. Mahomes was throwing erratically, and he doesn't look fast, but he's fast enough to squeak out 15 yards here and there.
Yeah, that guy, I don't know what it is about him that irks me. The helmet's crooked. His hips look crooked.
Well, you can tell if he's a basketball player or a baseball player as far as a shortstop, or he's a Harlem Globetrotter. I mean, the way he just, whoop. I feel like they're doing that circle. What did the Globetrotters do? Where they pass it over their head. It's like, man.
Oh, my God. That guy's a magician. He just. Anyway.
But you know what? We know it, and we're facing him. Think about this. If we pull this off, how great are we going to feel? And what's that do to our season? That changes the momentum, everything.
Well, it knocks us back up at 6-6. Mm-hmm. And it really would, I think the momentum, and because I do think they took some momentum from the Miami game. I really do. Maybe not the rushing attack, but the passing attack, as Aiden passed for 271. Not bad. Had there been a running attack, there possibly could have been more. And I'm sure they're working on that. And the defense has to be not satisfied, but encouraged that they stopped the number one offense with just 20 points. And in the time of possession, 28 minutes to 32 minutes, not bad. Now, the amount of plays they ran, I think they had about 13 more offensive plays than we did, something like that. But, it is what it is. But you take that, and you're like, wow, we went to Miami and we were in the game until pretty much the final drive.
Right.
And we have played Kansas City well every time. I mean, was it last year that we went to Kansas City and we were up 17-0? And
we came out on fire. Yes.
They called a holding on a field goal that Kansas City was attempting that they missed. And they called a penalty, which gave them the ball back, and they scored a touchdown, which opened the floodgates. They have to take confidence and remember that what they've done to Kansas City in the past, because we've been very competitive against them. So,
I'm hoping that, first off, I'm hoping the Versace effect happens again. We're in that same point now where we kind of got to win out, and win out. And if we still had to play everybody in our division once and one of them twice, but it can be done,
And the Colts in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now after the Miami game, I think we can play with anybody. It's just too. Yeah. So
and I'm sure they do too as well. I mean, you have again. You said there are no moral victories, but you can take things from a loss and say, you know what? We competed, and they competed from start to finish. Unlike some of the other games, they were competing until the end. And had you had a quarterback, just say if that was Aiden O'Connell's second or third year, Raiders win that game.
Yeah. Well, and I don't even know if any of the other quarterbacks in our lineup would have got that throw off, even though it was intercepted at the end of the game. Aiden stood up in there. He's a big kid.
He stands tall in that pocket.
He's in there, and I'm like, I worry about his health, but he gets in there and he throws it.
At least he's young and dumb.
Yes, exactly.
A veteran quarterback is probably gonna curl up as we saw in previous seasons with our former quarterback.
But even there's something about Max Crosby that I think the whole league is in awe of him because they showed a stat. He's played 98 to 99% of all our. I don't think he comes out at all. Right?
Not much.
He's in there, but he also plays at such a high level, and that's what they're going. How does he do that? Yeah. He doesn't look tired ever. And
if he is, he's hiding it. If you had just a second Max, whether it's on offense or also on defense with you, that's just contagious, man. And when you can find people that it's almost like a Steph Curry. Now, Steph, not the biggest guy.
Right.
But he just runs, or like Reggie Miller would do, just run and run and run and run. By the fourth quarter, you can't keep up with him. You're just, or the second or third defender that you've thrown at him, you can't keep up. And that's what Max does. He just keeps coming. And that defensive tackle is worn out. And that's when Max is very disruptive. And it's in the fourth quarter. He's stopping the run. He's deflecting passes. He's in on everything. And it's like, are there
you see when they do it
out there?
When they do a stunt, it's so funny because all of a sudden he's like a cheetah in the wild because he comes flying through this hole. Yeah. And his arms are flailing. And I would be the worst thing to see as a quarterback. You're just like, oh no, look at this tornado coming at me right now. Like, what do I do?
They're like, okay, he's on the right side of the offensive line, lined up as left end on the defense, and he's run a stunt, and now he's coming from this direction. Where did he? They can't find him, and they can't keep anyone on him. Early in the game, they can kind of contain him,
right?
And even then, it's tough. And he's freakishly strong because I've seen him hit guys in the chest and blows them up. So come fourth quarter. That's when he's really at an advantage on those offensive linemen because they're tired and he is still fresh. It's unbelievable, man. I love seeing when players can do that.
And I feel like Mr. Davis, our owner, is really kind of I like that he hears the stories about the locker room and that the players are telling him the locker room is better, and it's all the difference in the world,
But with anything, any sort of job, if you're content and happy, you're going to perform better. But if you have a boss, you're always looking over your shoulder or, what's going to happen tomorrow? And did I do this right? And that's no kind of way to live.
Nope.
It's either you want out of that situation. And I mean, I've worked in jobs where it was like god awful, but I knew that if I did my thing right, the one person that was doing things wrong that made it miserable, before too long, the higher ups to take notice. And sure enough, every time that's happened, that person has been gone. So the cancer's been removed, and now the healing begins, and they're going to be much better for it. And it starts this week with Kansas City. You get a victory here, man, that goes a long way.
Oh, I'm so excited about that. I just feel like something really phenomenal is going to happen.
It's coming.
It's in the air. I have this feeling to where, beating Kansas City at home throughout the week of Thanksgiving. That's our Thanksgiving. That's our Christmas present right there. And then we got to begin on Christmas. It's when they want to, it's hard to take us serious, and they don't they want to, every chance they get, they want to put us in our place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is our moment.
But, when it comes to the Raiders, similar to the Yankees in baseball, it's something about that name. It doesn't matter how good you're playing that year or how poorly you're playing. The opposition wants to kill you. Now, no matter where the Raiders go, everybody wants to really give it to them.
That's true. Well, so Antonio Pierce, I guess Michael Irvin came to visit him last week, and he went to his office, and he still has his office in the same place. He didn't have the head coach office. And he said, I'm not moving my office again. If they want to give me the job, I will move in there. Until then, I'm keeping it right here.
Okay.
And I go, well, that is real. That is, because I'm sure he shares his office with 2 or 3 other coaches. Usually, they don't get their own office unless you're coordinator or the head coach.
Yeah, I shouldn't say he was just the linebacker coach, but just the linebacker coach. Yeah,
you got your coordinator, you got your special guys there. Yeah, I'm sure that tells everyone a lot.
It does.
That means he wants that head coach job, but he's waiting. He's waiting for that.
It's also saying I want to earn it, and until I have it, we'll stay here and still be hungry. Because I don't think he's content.
Hey, Mitch,
he really wants to show that I deserve this job.
Can you stick around? We're going to do another segment. We'll be right back on Inside the Patch.
Absolutely.
We'll be back with more Inside the Patch on 1430 ESPN, your official home of the Las Vegas Raiders.